A cable internet provider sends internet data over the same lines that bring you your cable TV. They're called coaxial cables. One coaxial cable can carry 750 to 100 megahertz of data. It takes each cable TV channel about 6 megahertz to operate. That leaves plenty of space for hundreds of channels and lots of internet bandwidth. A cable internet signal takes up about the same amount of space as a TV channel for both downstream data, data that comes to your computer from the internet, and upstream data, things you upload like posts to social media or files sent to email recipients. To use your cable TV network for high-speed internet, you need a cable modem and a cable modem termination system. The termination system stays at your internet provider's headquarters. In between, there's that coaxial cable we mentioned before that carries your TV channels and high-speed internet data. National cable operators set up several hubs to connect neighborhoods. The coaxial cable system splits available bandwidth evenly among subscribers at any given time. To prevent users from taking more than their share, operators can impose data limits. Need more bandwidth to game, stream, and more in your home? Cable internet providers offer higher pricing tiers to give you access to more internet speed. Under optimal conditions, when fewer users are on the network, cable internet speeds can reach as much as 100 megabytes per second. Users will find far less speed during high traffic hours, though. Cable internet operators can sometimes use a partially fiber optic network from the control center to distribution points near a neighborhood. They then use copper wires for that final mile to the subscriber. Often, a cable carrier will offer phone services in a bundle too. Usually, the more services you sign up for from a provider, the more you save on individual services if you bought them separately. Whether you're a cable TV subscriber or want to be one, you have an option for high-speed internet without a lot of equipment to add.
You might have heard about fiber optics in the doctor's office, where it's used for medical imaging. You also might have heard of fiber optics from someone with superfast internet. Fiber optic cables carry the fastest speeds available for internet, speeds of 100 megabytes per second and up. What does that mean to the average web user? If you're checking headlines and horoscopes online, the difference won't be much. Your page will load instantly, as it would with much slower speeds. However, if you're in a home that loves to stream music or movies, or play games online, and do it all on multiple devices, fiber optic internet could be life-changing. It can deliver the speed to keep you buffer-free and on top of your game. It's all thanks to a technologically advanced system of flexible glass fibers that send data through pulses of light. It sounds space-age because it kind of is. Pure glass fibers as thin as human hair make up the core of a fiber optic line. Bundles of these fibers are bound together inside a reflective cladding. Imagine a tiny flashlight on one end of the cable. Pointed straight ahead, its light beam would stop the first time the cable bent. But if the walls are all essentially made of mirrors, the signal motor's on. Fiber optic lines are wrapped in reflective cladding so that light signals bounce around every bend without losing its speed over distance. A buffer coating protects the reflective cladding and the glass fibers inside, shielding it from damage and breakage. What makes fiber optics such a great choice for internet? Besides all that incredible speed, of course. It is way less expensive than copper wiring, which cable and DSL internet providers depend on. A fiber optic line can carry way more data than copper. They're also thinner, and when bundled, they can deliver service faster, further, and to more locations. It takes a high voltage transmitter to send data over a copper network. Fiber optic transmitters are way more efficient because they don't use electricity. They don't get all heated up like copper wires do. Fiber optics can deliver a dependable, fast internet connection perfect for the connected home. The only downside to fiber internet is that it's not available everywhere. Yet.
There are a few ways to access the internet in SA. Maybe you use 3G on your phone or tablet, which is convenient, but the data can be rather expensive, and with limited coverage, you could be out of luck. Or maybe you're still using dial-up, which, well, you remember dial-up. ADSL is by far the most stable and affordable way to access broadband internet. It uses your existing telecom phone line, but splits it into two channels, one for voice and one for data. This way, you can still use the phone while accessing the web. So, how do you get ADSL? First, you need a telecom phone line. If you don't have one, get Telkom to install one. You'll also have to ask Telkom to enable your ADSL service. Next, you need an ADSL modem, which lets your computer connect to the internet. If you want your laptops, smartphones, and tablets to connect, it's best to get a modem with built-in Wi-Fi. And finally, you'll have to sign up with a local internet service provider, your gateway to the World Wide Web. AfriHost has been voted SA's leading ADSL service provider for 2 years running. We take care of all the hard work for you, from dealing with Telkom to delivering your modem straight to your door, fully configured and ready to use. We'll recommend the package best suited to you, whether you just want to send emails and browse the web, chat on Skype, or play games online. We don't lock you into any contracts. And of course, if you're not completely happy, we have a 60-day double your money back guarantee. AfriHost, making ADSL easy and affordable. To learn more or sign up, visit afrihost.com now.
Satellite internet is internet that's from outer space. Well, it travels to outer space anyway. Satellite internet travels more than 23,000 miles, and that's just one way. In rural areas, satellite internet is the best option for high speed. A faster option than dial-up, satellite internet has undergone tons of improvements in technology and infrastructure in recent years. In many places, satellite internet speeds can match those that cable and DSL carriers offer even. But let's get back to the satellite. Orbiting directly over the equator in space. How does it all work? It all starts in your home. When you type in a website URL on your device, the request travels by wire to your satellite dish. The dish is mounted on your home, where there's a clear view of the southern sky. This gives your dish the best sightline to the satellite. Obstructions such as trees or buildings could impact your service quality. Installers take these factors into consideration when they choose a spot. A dish sends your request data to satellite. This satellite is geostationary, which means it orbits the Earth at just the right speed to essentially stay in one place. The satellite beams your data to a Network Operations Center on Earth. The NOC retrieves data needed for your request, a web page, document, audio file, and sends it back to the satellite. The whole process works in reverse. The satellite sends data to your dish, which then goes to your device. Your web request will travel more than 46,000 miles before it returns. All this takes a fraction of a second. It's not unlike the process of getting internet from other types of carriers, such as cable, DSL, or fiber. Latency can become a factor for satellite internet, however. Latency refers to a delay in data transmission. For most internet activity, browsing, sharing, streaming, latency doesn't impact much. Gaming and streaming on multiple devices, however, can prove problematic, and that's just with a delay of half a second. Some internet activity needs more speed than satellite can offer at the moment. However, satellite internet can be fast enough for a household of multiple users. Check with your provider on speeds and data allowances. You can also download large files during off-peak hours. This usually includes overnight hours, when fewer users are on the network. satellite internet providers allow users to schedule bigger downloads during these times. Satellite internet is a space-age idea. It's given people in places that had only dial-up as an internet option a choice. With new satellites launched into orbit all the time, satellite internet will only get faster.
You know, I think we'll start by defining what the heck a G is. Yes, I suppose it is that, but it also refers to the generation of cell phone network technology used by your provider's towers and the radio in your mobile device. So how many Gs you have affects the features, speed, availability, and reliability of your mobile network. So 1G, or first generation, was analog. Bleh! It didn't even support roaming, didn't encode voice calls digitally, and had no support for mobile internet, which I guess makes sense since that was pretty much sci-fi when 1G was rolled out starting in the early 80s. At any rate, good riddance to it. Its successor 2G rocketed us into the digital fast lane, allowing voice calls to be transmitted more efficiently via compression, which you can learn more about here, by the way, and cell phones to become smaller thanks to the reduced radio power requirements. Awesome! What we also got with 2G was confusion. Roaming to different territories was much improved, but only if the mobile network you were roaming on used the same type of second generation network, the main two of which being CDMA and GSM. And while initial true 2G offerings were too slow for a mobile internet experience beyond text-based emails, interim standards like GPRS and EDGE, colloquially referred to as like 2.5G or 2.75G, could deliver data rates as high as, well, much higher than the minimum 200 kilobit per second transfer speed required to call something 3G, which is why the line is so blurry, because carriers had to try and balance backwards compatibility and future-proofness with performance and coverage today. Not an easy thing to do when you're trying to save all that money. And third generation or 3G networks didn't simplify matters at all, with technologies like EDGE being technically allowed to be marketed as 3G thanks to fulfilling the speed requirements, even though almost no one did that since it's an upgrade dead end and not at all competitive with standards like WCDMA, whose later upgrades like HSPA and HSPA Plus could achieve pretty kick-ass mobile broadband speeds in excess of 100 megabit per second. Okay, so deep breath. Did 4G, fourth generation, make things simpler? The answer is yes and no. The term 4G is used pretty fast and loose by cell phone providers, for one thing, who are trying to convince you that they have the fastest stuff, but it also has a few different real meanings. So some companies use 4G to refer to a standard called HSPA+, which if you remember from like 20 seconds ago, is actually technically turbocharged 3G, which is why many carriers now are differentiating their long-term evolution or LTE networks by specifically calling them out as 4G LTE. LTE offers enhanced voice quality with HD voice, which you can learn more about here, and dramatically better downstream data rates for watching YouTube videos and streaming from music services like Spotify. We're talking up to 300 megabit per second. And on top of that, you can see dramatically better upstream performance too, which is critical for video calls and even mobile gaming in some cases. But then is 4G LTE the end of the huge alphabet soup of different wireless names? The answer is no. I mean, there's a newer version of LTE called LTE Advanced that is being marketed as true 4G. Since LTE wasn't technically 4G, then they kind of changed the rules so they could call it that for marketing purposes. So that's on the horizon, offering even greater reliability due to its use of several different LTE frequency bands at once, which is very important when you're traveling around or in a densely populated city. Also, there's one company in South Korea that has already rolled out what it calls Giga LTE, which is today capable of speeds of over 1 gigabit per second on compatible phones from Samsung and LG. Absolutely incredible, as long as there's a nearby tower. So speaking of nearby towers, will this kind of performance ever be available in the technologically backward West? Well, perhaps not. But at least those of us stuck under the oppressive heels of our local carriers can take comfort knowing that the next generation of South Koreans will be enjoying the latest freemium games in glorious 4K. Speaking of latest freemium games, have you ever thought to yourself, gee, if only I had some, graphic design skills and some business savvy and some coding skills, I could make a freemium game and, swim in my buckets of money all day. Well, lynda.com is there for you. I mean, fortunately, they have actually lots of different things. You can learn Word, you can do those things I said before, you can learn video editing, and it's all about watching and learning from top experts who are passionate about teaching the skills that you want, whether you're trying to make a freemium game or just trying to advance your career or improve your hobby or whatever else the case may be. They've got thousands of video courses, which you can watch on your computer or you can download and watch on your mobile app, whether it's iOS or Android. And you can create playlists and you can create notes and refer to them later. You can share your playlists. The point is, a lynda.com membership starts at just $25 per month. And if you sign up using our link, so that's lynda.com/techquickie, you can get yourself a free 10-day trial with unlimited access to everything on the site. So be like our other viewers and try out lynda.com in the link in the video description. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you thought it sucked. Leave a comment if you have suggestions for future Fast as Possible. Seriously, leave a comment if you have suggestions for future ones. There are almost never requests. How are we supposed to come up with more topics? And as always, don't forget to subscribe for those more topics that we still haven't determined exactly what they're going to be, but there will be them. We'll come up with them if you don't help us.